You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, 12th day of December, 2017. To all the partners, I do apologize that in 8 years, this past yesterday, Monday morning, at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you did not receive your weekly trading zones. I stayed up all night Sunday night trying to figure out what was wrong with my computer. I couldn't get through to the trade desk. I was convinced it was on my end, and come to find out, I could have slept peacefully like a baby because it was the server, not me. But they got it fixed. So I'm very happy about that. And hopefully, with God's grace, we'll make it another 8 years before we are late on delivery of the zones. We thank you for your patience. Now to the rest of the audience, welcome back if you're returning. And if you're here for the very first time, a special welcome to you. We're certainly glad to have you with us. And we're going to jump over to the numbers real quick around the world, kind of put things in perspective. And then I know Michael's schedule today is a little hectic, so I'm going to get him in real quick so that he can do a recap of the live training room. John will be with us, and then we will go over, the headlines, and of course we'll take a look at the Concierge Trade Alerts from yesterday and today. Now, starting with the cash markets here in the U.S., the Dow is up 129 points. That's half of 1%. NASDAQ is up almost 8 points. S&P 500 is up 8 points. And the Russell 2000 is up 3.5 points. Moving to the commodity basket, crude oil down 82 cents, trading 57.17 last. Keep in mind, we do get inventory numbers tomorrow. Gold down $7.40, trading $12.39.50 last. In the Asian markets today, not so green. The Nikkei closed the session down 72 points. The Shanghai was down 41, which is actually 1.25% for the Shanghai. And the Hang Seng was down 171 points. That's over half of 1%. But it was a brighter day in the European markets. The FTSE closed up 47 points. That's over half of 1%. The DAX closed up 60 points, almost half of 1%. And the CAC closed up 40 points, 3/4 of 1%. So it's a green day at home, a green day in Europe, and a red day in Asia. Those are the numbers. Michael, are you ready?
I am.
Well,
ready.
yeah, I know you're scheduled a little, you're not sure what's happening, so I thought I'd get you in here real quick and let you run through everything.
Okay, thank you. Let's switch it over to me. There we go. Should be looking at my screen.
I see your charts.
Excellent.
I can't even begin to tell you how discombobulating it was to try to, when we did the Concierge Trade Alerts, Monday morning, what was it, 5 your time, 3 my time?
Yeah, 5 a.m. my time.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was rough. It was like being in one of those fun houses at the state fair, with all the wacky mirrors and the floors that tilt, and that was my world. Okay, all right, I'll hit mute and I'll be here when you're done.
Okay, all right, here we go. This one. Oops. What did I just do? Hang on. There. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 12th day of December, 2017. Today in the live training room, well, first, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page here. Excuse me, where it says sign up for the CFRN live training room, 100% free trial. User indicators on our strategy. Click here. When you click there, you will be sent to this page, where all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Then hit the submit button. Once you hit the submit button, once you hit that submit button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, that's how we know you took the trial. Once you click that confirmation link, you have double opted in, and we know you took the trial. Okay, yeah, so that's that and that. Now, today, in the room, we only had a few trades just like yesterday, and just like yesterday, we had 16 ticks on the Russell, but today, we managed to complete the goal for the day and get 2 ticks on gold as well. All right, so we hit our goal for the day of $100 per contract. It took 81 minutes and 3 trade setups to do that. At that point, we're up $100, and that was it. That was it for the day for us. Yesterday, just like today, look at all these low numbers of trades in here this month. 4, 3, 3, 3. Man, markets are just flattening out. The gross on a month now is 1156 and a quarter. That's over 8 days, averaging 144 per day. On the year now, 32,025. That's over 232 days, averaging 138 per day. Now, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosure stuff down at the bottom. Okay. All right. Let's go through it. There's not a whole lot to go through, really, because, well, there are only 3 trades. Oops. There were 4 trades. I didn't mark this break even. Okay, so I'll go back and fix that in a minute. There was a short right here that we got 2 ticks profit on. There was another one here we got a break even on. There was one here. This was at the end of the room. It had gone 4 ticks into profit before I got filled on it, so I didn't get anything out of that. Okay, and then it just flattened right out. Yeah, that's a mess. Okay, on the euro. Okay, we had a trade on the euro too. And we had 5 trades. Yeah. Why was I not keeping better track of that? Oops. Okay. On the euro, we had 1 break-even trade right there, and that was it. Nothing else. The euro was going down into the low of the day here. It was just a horrible day. You know, Draghi's speaking this afternoon, and I think that's why the markets were the way they were. Now, crude. Let's see. We didn't do anything with the crude. It looks like there was 1 shorting opportunity right here that I didn't get filled on. It had gone 4 ticks into profit. All this right here, I mean, I know it looks like it's good and trending, but it was pushing in new lows every time it was doing this. So, you know, just like it is right now, you don't have the trade set up there. If you don't have room to move your stop to break even, you don't have a trade set up. Okay. And the Russell, we had 3 trades. It looks like, yeah, we had 2 ticks on the first one, 6 ticks here to get us up to +8, and 8 ticks here. Okay, we missed that one, and it looks like there was probably a shorting opportunity right here during the break. Okay, right in there. Maybe another one right there. And that was it with the Russell. Spreadsheet back up. We've got to fix the total number of trades. It's actually 5. Now, so today's the 12th day of December. We made 16 ticks in the Russell, 2 ticks in gold to get to $100 per contract. It took us 3 trades to get there in 81 minutes, and we took a total of 5 trades today. So on the month now, gross profit $1,156. That's over 8 days, averaging 144 per day. On the year, 32,025. That's over 232 days, averaging 138 per day. I'm going to read the spreadsheet. You read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. If you have not taken our free trial, go to the home page here. And at the very top it says sign up for the CFRN Live Training Room, 100% free trial, user indicators, learn our strategy. Click here. When you click there, you'll be brought to this page, where all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. You hit the submit button, and you'll be sent to confirmation link. At that point, you hit that confirmation link, and we will send you all the information you need to get into the free trial. Okay? And that is that. With that, we can wrap it back up, send it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A in South Mountain, America's largest city park.
You're right, that was a shorty.
It was.
What was the recap of the recap?
Today it took 81 minutes and 3 trades to get to $100 per contract.
Good job.
I thank you. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, that should put me back on top of the world. Here we go. In Studio A.
There it is. There it is in Studio A.
Have you looked at the Bitcoin futures contract yet? The one from the CBOE?
Nope, I have not. But it's funny, Litecoin's up over 100% today.
Well, okay, then you should stick around for this. Litecoin creator issues stern warning after the cryptocurrency doubles in a single day. Cryptocurrencies have exploded since Bitcoin futures began trading in Chicago over the weekend. Litecoin, the 5th largest coin by market cap, has seen its value more than double since Sunday afternoon, trading above $300 Tuesday morning, 110% above its weekend price. Creator Charlie Lee wasn't celebrating like some other Litecoin holders. The former director of engineering at crypto exchange Coinbase tweeted a dire warning for potential Litecoin holders Monday night. Sorry to spoil the party. Now, this is a direct quote. Sorry to spoil the party. This is from the creator of it, of this particular cryptocurrency. Sorry to spoil the party, but I need to rein in the excitement a bit. Buying LTC is extremely risky. I expect us to have a multi-year bear market like the one we just had, where Litecoin dropped 90% in value. It went from $48 all the way down to $4. So if you can't handle LTC dropping to $20, don't buy it. Wow. That's along the lines of, what's his name at Tesla?
Yeah.
What's his name? It's escaping me.
I don't remember it either.
Smartest guy in the world, he thinks. A lot of people think. I'd like to see him and Jeff Bezos on Jeopardy. Who do you think would win?
I don't know.
Batgirl? Okay. All right. So, anyway, the Tesla guy, Elon Musk, there we go. He came out and told people on a number of occasions, he goes, I think our stock's overpriced. Be careful. Thank you, audience, for supplying me with, for pulling me out of the fire there. Okay. So, guys, I mean, yeah. Now, that didn't stop some Redditors from planning celebrations as Litecoin passes more milestones. If you're wondering what a Redditor is, I have told you about Reddit. Most people don't know about it, but yet somehow it's called the front page of the internet. There's 100 million different discussion groups going on there about 100 million different topics. You can go there and start one yourself. The site is Reddit, as I read it on the internet. REDDIT, Reddit.com. Probably never heard of it. It's a big deal. Anyway, although it's lacking in aesthetics, a bit like Craigslist, although Craigslist has gotten better. One user on Reddit, Rashid the Dad, claimed he would record himself eating a Carolina Reaper, one of the world's hottest peppers, if Litecoin passed $300 before New Year's Eve. Another user said he would streak down Wall Street in New York before swimming to the Statue of Liberty if the coin passed $1,000 before the same date. Jay Clayton, head of this, I don't think he's got to worry about having to do that. Jay Clayton, head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, also weighed in on the cryptocurrency craze yesterday. He said, now, this is the head of the SEC. The world's social media platforms and financial markets are abuzz about cryptocurrencies and initial coin offerings. There are tales of fortunes made and dreamed to be made. Investors should understand that to date, no initial coin offerings have been registered with the SEC. The SEC also has not to date approved for listing and trading any exchange-traded products, such as ETFs, holding cryptocurrencies or other assets related to cryptocurrencies. If any person today tells you otherwise, be especially wary. Now, we have discussed here on the show that the SEC is reviewing the Winklevoss twins application from earlier this year for a Bitcoin ETF because of the action of the CBOE and the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And they denied it, but now they're reviewing it again. Does that mean they'll approve it? No, but I kind of think they will. But that's just one man's opinion. Litecoin has mostly lived in the shadow of Bitcoin, but has garnered a fan base through its slightly different mining technique, which aims to use less electricity than its rival. A recent estimate from the UK said the electricity used to mine Bitcoin this year is bigger than the annual usage of, you ready for this? 159 countries. Litecoin is up 5,953% so far this year. This is not a solicitation to buy or sell Litecoin or any security. Just reading you the headlines, my friend. Let's take a look at where it's at right now. I think we have it on our charts. Stand by. Still checking. Okay, a little shrinky ink. Come on. Come on. Ah, there we go. Okay. Now this would be what you call your Bitcoin. A little bit of a double top there. Okay, now go to the drop down. I thought it dropped down. Uh-oh. I could have swore it dropped down. Well, let's try LTC USD. There we go. Got to type. Whoa, look at that thing. What do I have it on? Do I have it on 1 day? Yeah. Let's do this. There we go. Okay, so here it was on 12.2. Here it was on 12.7. And it started to jump, but the real rocket ship took off today, looks like. So he put out that warning yesterday. Here's today's candle. I mean, he was warning people here. And now look where it ran. Oh my goodness. You see that, Mike? Mike's on the phone.
I do see that.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
I do see that. Yes.
Man. Tearing it up. Litecoin. What does the Litecoin do? Does it have a benefit? I don't know. No, I haven't studied it. I will, though. Okay. And I think after that headline, probably this one would be apropos. Here's what you need to know about the important cryptocurrencies that are not named Bitcoin. Let's take a look. Bitcoin, the largest cryptocurrency by market cap, had a high of $15,704 over the weekend. Other crypto coins aren't far behind. Here are the important ones. Out of the ashes of the financial recession rose the decentralized digital age. Cryptocurrencies are just one of the applications of this decentralization. In 2009, the first cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, of the Bitcoin protocol, was created by the enigmatic Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, to this day, no one knows who he is, or she, or they. One fella came along a couple years ago and tried to say he was Satoshi, but they somehow managed to prove that he really wasn't. Bitcoin uses blockchain technology to securely verify transactions without having to rely on a trusted central authority. This cryptocurrency now holds a value of about $15,000 per coin as of 8 a.m. Eastern on 12/7/17 and is the topic du jour at every happy hour. It was on Big Bang Theory the other night, and Howard Stern talked about it, and there was a third one. I mean, it's really getting into the mainstream. By association, other lesser-known cryptocurrencies, particularly Ethereum. Now, the CT Global coin is built on the Ethereum or Ether blockchain. There's also Litecoin and Ripple are also gaining traction. There's much skepticism around the subset of digital assets. However, their adoption will ultimately prove or disprove their legitimacy. In our initial analysis, we put cryptocurrencies into two groups: store of value, that's the CT Global coin, and the token of utility. To be a store of value, the cryptocurrency must be able to retain purchasing power and be seen as a unit of currency that can be used to verify the transfer of funds. To be a token of utility, the coin is more so a unit of service used as a means of facilitation on a certain platform. Some coins exhibit both properties, but are primarily intended to be one or the other. Bitcoin is a store of value. However, its popularity amongst online merchants has also made it the coin with the highest real-world utility. On the other hand, Ethereum is a token of utility, which is why it is liked by banks and financial institutions, and arguably has the highest utility potential of all cryptocurrencies. There are a plethora of teams developing Ethereum-based platforms to create new disruptive technologies. We should note that much of the price action in this space has been highly speculative. However, we identify some parameters to consider when analyzing cryptocurrencies. Store of value or token of utility. It is important to know exactly what purpose the coin serves. Number 2, total value of coins in circulation. If finite, then there is justification for higher prices at periods of high demand. That's the CT Global coin. Production/mining. The cost of the required inputs can be looked at as the theoretical floor. The CT Global coin has been pre-mined for you. It's called proof of stake. Number 4, internal or external medium of exchange. That means understanding its possible adoption outside of its community. Well, with as many Christians as there are around the world, I don't think we have an issue there. Price elasticity, effects of higher prices on demand. Number 6, platform existence independent of the token. A platform that runs independent of its tokens raises questions around the utility of the token. Number 7, investor interest, general public perception and sentiment. 8, potential as a disruptive technology. This would feed into the value proposition and rate of broad-based acceptance. With that in mind, we have identified 5 coins that have our attention: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, and Litecoin. These 5 coins currently make up around 84% of the cryptocurrency market. And that's primarily because they were the first to market. There are currently around 17 million Bitcoins in circulation, and there is a fixed cap of 21 million coins that will ever be in existence. Well, with CT Global, 1 million. That's it. There will never be more than 1 million coins. Bitcoin's network is powered by miners, which are groups of individuals and companies that use computing power to process transactions in exchange for compensation in Bitcoin, both from newly minted coins and from transaction fees. Transactions are recorded on a global database called the blockchain. Miners compete against each other to verify blocks of transactions by attempting to calculate a hash function output that is smaller than a target value by altering a parameter called the nonce. That's N-O-N-C-E. Again, Google it, N-O-N-C-E. Now, people have invested, companies have invested, hundreds of millions of dollars in equipment and electricity. But once they hit 21 million coins, that's it. What are they going to do? What are they going to do with all the equipment? The employees? I haven't heard anyone discuss that. Now let's consider how Bitcoin actually works as a means of exchange for goods. Most people pay for their coffee using cash, credit card, or prepaid card, and the sale transaction process takes only a few seconds. Paying for coffee with Bitcoin is fundamentally different from those methods because there is no immediate mechanism to guarantee that there are enough funds in the purchaser's account until the balance is actually deducted. Due to the lack of a trusted central authority, a Bitcoin purchased is most similar to writing a check and waiting for it to clear before completing the transaction. The wait time to confirm a Bitcoin transaction will vary, but it generally takes around 10 minutes, which probably feels twice as long if you're waiting for your morning cup of coffee. In addition, Bitcoin miners do not process transactions for free, and so a small incentive is needed. 150 Satoshi per byte, with a typical transaction size being 200 bytes. This is equal to 0.0003 Bitcoins. 100 million Satoshi equals 1 Bitcoin, or approximately $4.50 US at current Bitcoin valuations. It's very unlikely anyone would be willing to spend an extra $4.50 to buy a cup of coffee. As such, we expect to see Bitcoin's prevalence in large transactions as opposed to day-to-day payments. Bitcoin's rapid appreciation has actually impaired its usefulness as a means of exchange for many things. Now, why am I blanking on names today? Who created Microsoft?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, thank you so much. Bill Gates has said, and it's on the Christian Trader's website, in that video at the bottom, that when you're dealing with large sums of money, let's say he wants to send 5 million or 10 million to some project that he's working on in some third world country. Okay. Well, I don't even think they don't allow you to. Do they allow you to carry more than $10,000 out of the country, or do you have to simply declare it?
I don't know what the rule is for that.
Well, anyway, I know when we bought the mission down in Mexico, we were only allowed to carry 10,000 at a time, and I think the property cost us 14,000. So we just split it between myself and my wife so that we were both under the limit. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point Bill was making is that it can become very cumbersome if you have money like in a foundation or just even in a bank. If you go in a bank and try to get a large sum of money, they look at you like you're a terrorist. And so he just said it's going to make doing large-scale business so much easier. And this backs it up. In August 2017, Bitcoin underwent what could loosely be described as a dividend payment. As Bitcoin was gaining in popularity, the volume of transactions was increasing, but the actual processing speeds were getting slower and slower. The closer we get to that 21 million number, the more electricity and manpower, computer power, it's going to take to mine another coin. Disagreements between members of the Bitcoin community resulted in a hard fork and the creation of Bitcoin Cash, which prioritizes its usage as a transactional currency, which means it has lower transactional costs versus a digital store of value. Holders of Bitcoin were given Bitcoin Cash tokens equal to the number of Bitcoin tokens they owned. Given the philosophical divide which prompted its creation, Bitcoin Cash is relatively closer to a token of utility, although issues remain with high transaction costs and processing time. Ethereum, which was developed or launched in 2015 by Vitalik Buterin. This kid is a genius. Ethereum is a platform that enables smart contracts which replaced legal contracts with code and also provides compensation to developers for creating and running decentralized applications. I am going to put a link because this news article gets quite lengthy, so I'm going to throw you guys out the link, and that will allow you to finish reading it. Otherwise, we'll take up way too much time. Now, Fred said, how has Ethereum done over the past month? That is a good question. Let's take a look. Oh, I see how the drop down works. If you come here, well, I did it just a second ago on my other screen. I just came here and a whole list popped up. I promise you it did. Oh, there it was. Oh, that's freaky. Freaky deaky. Did you see it, Mike, pop up there for a second?
Oh, I did not. I was looking at
Alright, I'll just type ETH USD. Okie doke. Wow. So this takes us back to August. Looks like we hit a new high there. Took a dip. Support. Buyers came in early. Took it up. Pulled back. Support. Buyers came in early. And now we're riding high. 622.65. Huh. Well, what do you know? Thanks for asking, Fred. I'm glad you did. All right, let me check, see if John's in the house. He is indeed. John, are you there?
I'm here, yeah. Hi.
Welcome to the show. Yeah. Sorry about yesterday, but I could not get connected to the server. I had no charts. I was flying blind, and I thought I could do it using Michael's charts remotely, but I just threw my hands up in the air and said, I can't do this, guys.
Yeah, I saw his charts on, and I thought, and then suddenly when you shut down, I kind of thought, oh, well, we must have had to go early or something. So.
Well, no, Sunday night when I sat down to do the weekly trading zones and the Concierge Trade Alerts, I couldn't get logged into the server. And I thought the problem was on my end. I couldn't get through to the overnight trade desk. If I could have gotten through, they would have told me, no, it's the server, and I could have just gone to bed. Instead, I stayed up all night, rebooting my computer, restoring to a previous time, and running every kind of virus scan in the world, and malware. Because it was telling, the error message I got said, you don't have an internet connection, which I obviously did have. So, anyway. How have you been?
Not too, got a bit of an off weekend, but I'm just kind of coming back right now. I haven't been as active as normal the last few days, but we did recall. Remember Riot? I mentioned Riot a week or two ago. Had a big run up. We sold it. It came back down, and it ran up again this morning, pretty strongly. At one point, it was two stocks we called this morning. One was PTI, which shot from nowhere yesterday, and is up about a couple of 100%, something like that, 160% right now. It's come off the highs. I'd be very, very careful of this, frankly. And we actually got a sell on Riot at around, I was watching it going up, and I thought, it went to 33, and I thought I'd put a stop at 32. And then I just got momentarily distracted. Next thing you know, it was 31 and going down to 29. So we sold it on the rebound at 30. It's a little bit above it. Oh, no, we actually don't think we sold it yet. We actually got a stop in there at 30. So it might go a bit higher. It's pretty strong, this stock. Remember I said, for the benefit of those who say I don't call things ahead of time on the show, I did say that if we broke above 120 on the XIV, we'd probably go for a pretty big run. and we've actually got up to about 129 this morning, which is a pretty good run. We're in a very strong uptrend on this, and it has dragged the market higher with it in a very dramatic way, because it doesn't really, this thing doesn't run off the NASDAQ. It kind of is related to the S&P and the Dow.
Mm-hmm.
So if the S&P and the Dow are going up, this tends to go up along with it, and it can actually outperform it. And the VIXs do the opposite. So the Dow and the S&P are particularly strong. It looks like the S&P's gunning for 2,700, and the Dow for 25,000. But we're running into a bit of trouble here. Behind the veneer of this apparent very strong market, the drug stocks had a big rally yesterday, and they're coming off again. And the semiconductors in particular have really not participated in this last rally. and the bangs are kind of underperforming as well. In fact, Facebook and Netflix have been kind of knocked down, and Apple even is coming off today. So with the Fed thing coming up, it feels to me like, in fact, the gold already turned up here. I think the gold has got very good support around this 1239.40 area, and is a potential turning point for the metals. The copper is creeping higher as well. I'm really starting to think that I may be wrong, maybe dead wrong, but I just got a feeling that when the Fed raises rates, that the gold will, in fact, go. It might do one more test of the lows. It could spike down. It could spike down to even the 20s, and it could go to 1225 or so. And but it may not. It may just go straight up, and it could go up a lot actually. So I'd be ready. With the nuggets and the J-nugs and things. And Royal Gold has been acting very well. We actually rode Royal Gold up to the highs of a couple of days ago and sold it. And it's probably back on a buy again right now, as potentially are the remember I said the dust to go to 32.
Mm-hmm.
It just about got there this morning. And the J-Dust got to 75, and it's coming off as well. So I would be probably, I would definitely put a stop under the dust right now if you own it. That's $7 from where we called it at 25, and we've zigged and zagged in and out of it a few times. So amazingly, it got up there, but as it has got up there, it's sort of on a kind of a double top, or a little bit higher top. So if it breaks from here, it could really go down a lot, especially if the gold rallies dramatically from here, which I think it's going to do. Look, it's, as I said on the show earlier, it's either going to make the bottom this month or probably in January or February. And as for the market, obviously with the XIVs being so strong, you have to be a little bit careful. I actually got a sell signal a short while ago, but I'm not sure if it's going to remain a sell signal. It might, if the market starts heading back to the highs again, you have to sort of go long again. But the mid cap has not, it's been basically hasn't moved since yesterday. It's actually down now, and against yesterday, I think, and the Nasdaq is down as well. The Nvidia, the semiconductors, and some of these other stocks are down. The airlines are quite strong still, and the financials are strong because the bonds have fallen, and we have been short the bonds since about 154, and they're almost down to 152 now. and they're probably going to go lower if the Fed raises rates tomorrow. So, and they could go a lot lower from here because they're sort of breaking down altogether right now, which, you know, you've got to be careful when the market rallies into a Fed meeting. Now, they may try and break it down beforehand so that they can rally it on the news, but this time the rally's kind of been pretty big, and basically going into the Fed meeting. And I think if the rate, notwithstanding the fact that higher rates are bullish for stocks, you know, at least when they're not too high, you know, when they're just going 1, 2, 3% upwards, it's very bullish for stocks when that happens. But actually raising the rates, the actual act of raising the rates, could be enough to knock the stocks down for a few days, possibly even longer. And, you know, in a way, it might benefit the market if it has a bit of a pullback here, possibly even to test the lows that we, you know, the Brian Ross lows would be a pretty good area to come back to, and then give the market the potential to rally into the end of the year, or possibly even spend the Christmas period not rallying too much in advance of a possible really powerful start to the new year. I think that would be better. And so, but look, the market's so strong. The tax cuts are really just as we said, you know, long before that, you know, everything got approved. That in '86, you know, the market rallied very, very strongly into the end of the year, and then exploded higher in '87. So it feels very much as if something similar is going to happen. And talking about the XIV, you know, if we get a pullback and then we start going up again, maybe we come back to 120 on the XIV, to test the breakout, because we haven't tested it actually yet. We actually gapped higher to 122. But if we were to do that, and then the XIV really gets going, it could do an NVIDIA of sorts, and it's a pretty good template to keep in mind. While an XIV at 128 or 9 is sort of unthinkable, considering it was so extremely low down in 2009. The fact that it's this strong at this point is a very big deal, because, you know, if the market keeps going higher, the XIV is going to go higher. And if the market goes up 10, 20, 30% next year, the XIV is going to probably hit 200, maybe even, maybe even more. So it really could do an NVIDIA, and you need to keep that in mind, because it's a juggernaut, just as the whole market is itself, just like Bitcoin is. I mean, everything's a juggernaut right now. So
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Another thing we did this morning, we got a bit lucky. I just had a feeling the energy was going to come off, so we sold everything right at the highs, shorted it, and so far the energy's down quite a bit from where it was. And we took a hunch on the grains, and I just said to buy the grains, and the grains have turned up quite nicely so far. Well, not by much, but I think the grain's probably turning here. I would stay short the energy for the moment, unless it turns up this afternoon. Looks like it's acting pretty heavy here, so it could come back.
These soybeans look a little strange, but I guess they are what they are.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the wheat turned up a little bit today, which is good, and I think the corn also is kind of tested its recent lows. So, and it's up. Just this sort of burst here was quite a good sign, And I think the grain's going to have a good year next year. I think maybe we could be turning ahead of the year end. Also, the coffee, we were short from about 128 all the way down, and I think the coffee now is I wouldn't buy it unless it broke 120, 121. I think it just have to stay with it on the short side. It could come back and test the 115 level in the next, sometime in the next week or two, maybe even next year. So coffee is a strange story right now. Just you think that with all the coffee, Starbucks and everybody drinking coffee, more coffee than ever, you'd think the price would be 3 times what it is today, but it's not. It's way down.
Is that because there's more supply? Are there more growers because of the Starbucks and all of that?
Yeah, I think so. Probably everybody's thought, let's cash in on the worldwide trend. Yeah, and it's they probably overproducing, and it's kind of weird. So, but like anything, it gets down to a level where these people decide to throw in the towel on the coffee and plant something else, and the market could come back again. So we'll have to see. But this is very pretty unusual for the coffee to be down at this level. It's kind of decade lows, really. The coffee hasn't been this low. It's only been this low 3 or 4 times in the last 3 or 4 decades. So anyhow, it has surprised on the upside. It's had some pretty good rallies, so it's been a pretty good trading market.
Were you tuned in yet when we talked about the comments from the developer of Litecoin?
No, I didn't hear that.
It doubled. It doubled in a day, and
wow.
he warned people. He said, "You know what? This past year has been a bear market. It went from, I forget what the number was. It went from like $94 to $4."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if you aren't prepared for this thing to drop to $20, he said, don't buy it. And it's currently trading, let's see, I got it right here, I think, still. It's trading 613.28. No, that's Ether. Let me go back to Litecoin. Oh, come on. Something happened to my charts. Doggone it. Oh, well, I can't bring it up right now. Sorry.
Yeah, the metals might still be down testing the lows. One good thing is that palladium is back up above 1,000 again. It looks pretty strong. It's had a couple of good tests under 1,000. Platinum is in a lot of trouble. Down at 875, it's really not in a good place. So you have to keep that in mind. The other thing is the mid cap is starting to come back here off the earlier decline, and while it's helping the Dow and the S&P, it's not helping the Nasdaq yet. But the fact that whenever this mid cap rallies, you've got to be really careful of being short. So we might have to go back long again on these indices.
Can you see my chart, John?
Yeah.
That's Litecoin, and look, he warned people, I think yesterday, and now look what today did.
Well,
that's a daily candle right there.
Well, from 200 to, God, it almost doubled in a day. Wow, Jesus. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it doubled in a day down here. See, when it went from like 85 to 160, he warned people, you better be careful. And so what they do with his warning? He ran that baby.
It's incredible.
It is. It is incredible.
Never seen anything like it. It really is, we've never seen anything like this before. It's really a big deal.
This is like, this is like watching the Jetsons when you were a kid, the cartoon. And it's sort of unreal. But if you step back and consider the fact that the United States M3, a lot of people probably don't even know what M3 is. That is the nation's money supply. And that used to be a number that the government regularly reported. And then all of a sudden they stopped reporting it. Do you know what the reason they gave, John, for that they no longer reported M3?
No, tell me. I forget.
Oh, well, I don't know. That's just it. I just know that it was something they regularly published, and then they didn't. Here's the deal, guys. Over 70% of U.S. money in circulation, quote unquote in circulation, never gets printed or minted. It's simply ones and zeros on a central computer, not a decentralized computer, but a central computer. So only less than 30% actually gets made into quarters and $5 bills, etc., that you put in your pocket and go to the store and spend. Everything else is digital. It's not physical. It's not something you can hold in your hand, but it is our money supply. Now, I don't know if they got embarrassed by it or maybe because we were so deeply in debt as a country, it seemed fictitious to print a money supply because it went in at the bottom of the balance sheet. You don't have any money, so maybe that's why they stopped printing it. So we have a new word, cryptocurrency. We have a new concept, decentralized and blockchain and all the stuff we've been talking about. But the U.S. dollar has basically been a cryptocurrency for quite a long time. If you want to go to the bank and get a $20 bill out of your savings account or checking account, something you can hold in your hand and put in your pocket, you can do that. But most people right now, and I said this to you last week, if you reached into your pocket right now, could you pull out even a $1 bill? And I'm guessing that 50% of the audience can't. Because there's plastic in their back pocket, whether it's a debit card or whatever kind of card it might be. It's simpler and more convenient to pay that way. Mm-hmm. And if you have a roll of $100 bills and you're folded up in your pocket and you lose it, that baby's gone forever. But if you lose your piece of plastic, one phone call to the bank, and they just send you a new card. And if any charges are made on the card, you're not responsible. I mean, that's like a dollar bill with an insurance policy behind it. Oh, you lost your dollar bill? We'll replace it. So, while this does seem like something new and foreign and strange and speculative, it is, but it isn't. We've been living off this kind of a system for a long time.
Have you seen this GBTC?
GBTC, what is that?
It's called Bitcoin Investment Trust, and it's up $380 today.
Now we read. This is really interesting. Okay, this is
look at where it was at the beginning. Look at where it was back in April. Jesus.
You know what? I might actually even own some of that. Wait a minute. It's a $2,000?
Mm-hmm. 2,400, 22, 27 right now.
I was out looking for some penny cryptos or extremely cheap cryptos, stocks related to cryptos, etc. I better go check on that. There's a remote possibility. I wouldn't have bought it up in here. No way. I would have only bought it like down in. It would have. No, it's got to be a different one. But it seems like we talked about it. Now, did you hear that comment from the head of the SEC today? I read that on the show earlier. I should still have it up. Maybe it was. Hang on. Anyway, he said that at this point, it must be on the previous page. Anyway, the head of the SEC that says at this point they have approved nothing, not one ICO, not any ETFs, and he said if anyone tells you differently, then you should be very wary. But yet here we are looking. I mean, this required SEC approval, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to trade on even the over-the-counter markets, it still requires SEC approval.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay. All right, good. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, they could have just gone public, just like any other company.
Without any SEC approval at all?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I thought all public
apart from the regular, apart from the filings, the regular filings, counting and stuff like that.
Well, somebody got well off of that. It's up $321 today. My goodness. Bitcoin Investment Trust. It would be interesting to look under the hood and see what they're doing. Are they simply buying Bitcoin, or are they mining Bitcoin, or what are they doing?
Yeah, good point.
Perhaps they're investing in Bitcoin-related industries, like picks and shovels.
Well, that's where a lot of these. That's where this, stocks like Riot are getting on the bandwagon. Today, this is part of the. It's really a variation on a theme.
Who do you think is going to win the election down in Alabama?
It's probably going to be more, but it could be a surprise. They were working really hard. They're bringing these guys down to try and get the black vote and stuff. So
yeah. Well, the Fox poll said Jones is up by 10 points, but a rival poll by Emerson showed Moore, the Republican, with a 9-point lead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just have to wait and see. I hope he wins, but it's getting. It's just amazing the lack of credit that Trump gets. I think the Democrats are really scared because the economy is so extraordinary right now. The performance, the market performance is incredible. And as I pointed out the other day, with the market cap now of all these Bitcoin lookalikes, what is it? It's got to be 300-400, maybe 400 billion, 500 billion. It's pretty high. And if you add that to the 5.5 trillion and then throw in the investment gains and the real estate, we're absolutely over 6 trillion, and that's gigantic. This market is up. Look, even though you and I were pretty bullish on election night, I think we were talking about 20, 21, 22,000. We had 22 for a long time pegged, if you remember. That was our big number, and here we are at 24,500 going into the end of the year. And it kind of looks like we might hit 25,000 before the year's out. So that's what's that? That's 8,000 points. 8,000 points, almost. Is about 8,000 points. Imagine hitting that before the end of the year. So, and look, I remember how long ago. A couple of months ago, I said 2 or 3 months ago, I said 26,000, and people thought I was totally bonkers when I said that. So, but it looks very, very, yeah. Look, the range. Actually, my new range is 26 to 32 by 2020, and the odds of hitting the higher range now by 2020 is actually pretty high. I think that it's absolutely astonishing that the bad mouthing by the Democrats has got people, saying this tax cut's a bad thing and all this. And I mean, I can't believe it. Still, I haven't heard a single commentator out there who hasn't figured out the tax cut's already paid for itself. I mean, several times over, just in the increase in the market value and the market and everybody's 401ks and everything else. I mean, and what's different about this tax cut is it is going to be unbelievably beneficial to corporate America. It's going to attract a lot of industries to the U.S. A lot of companies from overseas are going to come back, and a lot of new companies are going to want to set up in the U.S. I mean, look, we said this a year ago. Trump wants to create an investment paradise in an industrialized country, and here we have it. And the second smartest thing I've heard since this tax cut is Britain. If they do go ahead with this Brexit, that they actually, become a kind of a tax haven in their own right, right on the coast, right off the shores of Europe. And I think it's a brilliant idea because, they want to be like Singapore. And if they do that, the amount of money that could flow from Europe into Britain would be phenomenal. And I guess Ireland would benefit as well, just because it is a quasi tax haven already. So,
all right, John, do you need to get that?
No, it's okay. So, well, listen, I better wrap it up. But thanks for the invite, and
thank you, John.
We'll see how we go tomorrow. Okay.
All right, we appreciate it very much.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Okay. You too.
Okay. Well, I used to have a 5 on my computer. There it is. Now, this is Crude from mine and Mike's work Monday morning by 57.55. His first run-up was good for $500 per contract available. And then you had this pullback. Now, did it move substantially higher? Oh, you better believe it. Did it put in a little bit of a double top there and roll over? Yep. Depending upon how closely you're trailing your stop, okay? This pullback could have taken you out. When this was a big green candle, you could have easily brought your stop up to here. And then you were out. Okay. You made money. Didn't make all that money. Here, this one came right down to the number. 57.60. So the low was 61. It rallied back up, and then it got to work. And these are last week's zones. Not only are these last week's zones, they're last week's zones for a different contract. Now, when I say important prices in important areas are almost always tested, I think we've proven that it doesn't matter what the contract is. It doesn't matter what week it is. Important prices and important areas are almost always tested. I'm going to say it again. Oh, wait a minute. No. We didn't roll over on this one. So this isn't a different contract. It's just a new week. And with today only being Tuesday, we know that the previous week zones have carryover power that can last up through Tuesday, today, Wednesday. So on Thursdays, when I give you the zones for the current week, partners get them on Monday morning, normally. One miss in 8 years. But on Thursday, I revealed them to the whole community, to the entire audience. If you just wrote them down, and, walked them into Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, you might start to get the picture of how beneficial they can be. And then you'd be calling me up saying, hey man, can I just buy those weekly zones? And I'll say, no man. But someday when we're ready to retire, we're going to fill an arena. And if you can get a ticket, we're going to teach you how to do it. So stick around. Don't go away. All right, let's go back and take a look at the S&P. Mike and I working together in the wee hours of the morning yesterday. Me looking at his chart in a go-to meeting or webinar setting. We said to consider buying 2660, and it ran up to 67. So that was a 7-point move. And then last night we said to consider buying 2669, and it made it up 4 points so far. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. That's what that is right there. And there she goes again. This time we've hit a high of 2672.50. Okay. All right. Let's go to the Dow. Yesterday it was 24,405. Made it up to 24,460. 55 points. And then last night it was my 24,465, and that's taken us all the way up to 24,575. So that's 110 points. Way to go. All right, the Russell. I guess I haven't done the Russell yet. It just looks confusing at the moment. I don't know what happened. That thing was swinging wild last week. We wanted to buy 1528 last night, and 1528. Really? So that would have been about I guess that's, let's see, they went out at 8 Eastern. Gotta adjust I'm an hour off here. So anyway, it did hit 1528, and it eventually made it, you know, after a grueling night, it made it all the way up to 1529. That's a yippee skippy trade. On Monday by 1530, boy, that happened just enough to cost you something. Or consider selling 1524, and $15.24. Yep, that probably, well, actually your stop was up here, so you actually got the full 4 points. Okay, well, it is what it is. Crude we just covered by 57.55. Then today we'll sell 57.60. Right down to last week's zone to the tick and bounce. Love it. NQ. I know I haven't looked at the NQ here. Okay. Okay. Yesterday it was by 63.75, which worked out well, pretty good. Except it didn't. Oh. Frightful. So, trigger, and then potentially stopped out, because your stop should have been about right here. So, maybe you took a stop. But then, from 63.75, it raced up to 63.75 to 64.15. And then this pullback, well, what time was that? Yeah, getting towards the end of the day. This pullback, I'm sure, would have taken you out if you were still in it. Last night, so 64.14. right. Last night they got out at the normal time. All right, 64.14 down to 63.91. Not bad. We'll take it. Let's see. Soybeans moved to the downside, got right up to the trigger on the long side and didn't happen. Okay. This was sell 986. No, buy 986, I'm sorry. Sell 979. And we got down to a low here. 976, so 3 points there. Now, what have we not covered? Bonds. Last night on the bonds, we said to consider selling 152.27. Should be right about there. $152.27. Okay. And we put in a low at 152.05. So basically 25 points at 31.25 per point. 32 ticks to a point. 1 point is $1,000. Covered crude. The only thing left is gold. Now, when Michael and I put them out, we said sell 12.47. It's good for about a $400 per contract drop. And then we said sell 12.42, and that was good for a $300 per contract drop. And these are last week's zones. Let's wrap it with our good word for the day. Pull up the notes. So we're back on track, everything sort of as normal. Well, as normal as it gets around here. I've never been a big fan of normal. Okay, here we come. Now, are you wondering what you should do? Do what God has told you. Okay. Genesis 6:22 says, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. We all know the story of Noah. His ark measured 300 cubits in length, 50 cubits in width, and 30 cubits in height. A cubit is thought to be the equivalent of 44.4 centimeters. That means the ark was the length of 1.5 football fields. The internal volume of the ark was 43,000 cubic meters, the equivalent of around 350 buses. If the average animal was the size of a sheep, it had capacity for 125,000 animals. To put that into perspective, there are only 4,000 animals from 350 different species at Taronga Park Zoo. That means you could fit over 31 Taronga zoos on board Noah's Ark. And since it was the first boat ever built, it's not like it came with an instruction manual. It was back-breaking work that required blood, sweat, and tears. And it took an incredible amount of faith to build the ark. I mean, who builds a boat in the desert? Who hammers away for over 100 years on something they might not even need? Who banks their entire future on something that has never happened before? According to Jewish tradition, Noah didn't just start building the ark, He planted trees first. After they were fully grown, he cut down the trees, sawed them into planks, and then built the boat. And here's an interesting piece of information. Not until the late 19th century did a ship that size get constructed again. Yet that design ratio is still considered the golden mean for stability during storms at sea. Noah's act of obedience literally changed the world. And obedience will change your world too. So, whenever you're wondering what to do what God has told you. That's part 1 of 3. Genesis 6:22. Noah did everything just as God commanded him, and so should we. And that's our good word for today. And that's going to wrap it for this Tuesday, the 12th day of December, 2017. Be back tomorrow, same time. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are and wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.